A royal romance in Britain. In the grounds of Buckingham Palace, Princess Anne walks hand in hand with the man she intends to marry, Lieutenant Mark Phillips. An announcement from the palace and a sapphire and diamond ring have now set the seal on a romance which had been rumored for months. At their first session with the press, the couple's happiness was visible. It was a popular choice, too, with the Londoners who flocked to the palace gates after the announcement.
What do you think of Princess Anne's engagement?
Well, I'm very pleased for her. I hope she'll be very happy.
What do you think of Mark Phillips?
He seems very nice.
I think it's a wonderful match, I do really.
Yes.
And I wish them all a very happy life.
I'm very pleased for them. I expect all my friends at work will be as well. Well, everyone will be.
Oh, I'm very pleased. I think it makes a change that, that royalty can go out and marry somebody else that isn't royalty. So oftentimes, you think of a princess must marry a prince, but why should they? I don't see any need for it.
It was their passion for horses that first brought the young couple together. They're among the finest riders in Britain and have both competed internationally. Mark, who's 24, has represented Britain at the Olympics. He's also competed alongside the princess at the badminton trials, where he can have little guess that his winner's medal was being presented to him by his future mother-in-law. His background is well established in the English countryside and its sports. His home is in Great Somerford, a small village in Wiltshire, where his family occupies a large 16th century farmhouse. Mark's father is a director of 3 companies, including a leading sausage and pie firm. Mrs. Phillips rides with the Beaufort Hunt, which is centered in the village. Fox hunting has its opponents in Britain, and Anne has recently attracted criticism for attending hunts with Mark. Lieutenant Phillips' education began at Stouts Hill Preparatory School in Gloucestershire, where it soon became clear that his main interests were sporting rather than academic. At the age of 13, he went to Marlborough, one of Britain's best-known and most expensive public schools. One of his tutors there remembers him as a boy who excelled at sports with consummate modesty. He became captain of athletics and played for the school rugby 15. After Marlborough, he went to Sandhurst College, the classic training ground for an army career. Like his father and his grandfather before him, he was commissioned into the Queen's Dragoon Guards. Although the princess was a frequent visitor to the Phillips home, rumors of romance were consistently denied until the engagement was actually announced. Mark's parents are naturally relieved that the secrecy's over. But did they have any idea at first that the friendship would end in marriage?
None whatsoever.
And when did you, in fact, first know? When did they ask you?
Just after badminton.
And what did you feel when both Princess Anne and Mr. Phillips were making these denials? Did you just smile, or what was your reaction to that?
I don't think, really, that we reacted or thought about it at all. We felt that it was something entirely between them, and no, I don't think we reacted at all.
Do you think that being royal parents-in-law, as it were, is going to have any effect on your own lives?
I can see no reason why it should.
And you, Mr. Phillips?
No, I can't see why it should.
Lieutenant Phillips' future bride is in many ways no different from any girl he might have picked from his immediate circle. She's young, only 22, and likes to act her age. She's no time for stuffiness And wherever possible, she likes to carry out her official duties with complete informality. The princess's qualifications as an army wife are impressive. She's commander-in-chief of no fewer than 3 regiments. The princess's informality puts her at ease in situations like this: a visit to a children's adventure playground in London's Notting Hill. On trips abroad, the princess has been a charming and elegant ambassadress, but she's not always been able to maintain the good humor and interest she showed in the children at this nursery in Hong Kong. When she's bored or irritated, it frequently shows. One of the main clues to the princess's character lies in her attachment to horse riding. It's not easy for any member of the royal family to specialize, but Anne has pursued her interest against all the odds, and her success in the field is a tribute to her determination and strength of will.
That's right, sir. As he raises his head a little.
Anne's strength of will is, in fact, conceded by all who know her, but Lieutenant Phillips is reported as saying that there'll be no boss in the marriage. Like the kingdom itself, it will be a democracy. Apart from that, no other details have been arranged.
Well, it's still really to be decided, the family being such that it's always engaged months before. We've really got to do a little bit of sorting out with the dates, but I think the middle of November. And place-wise, I think it's still yet to be decided.
Have you got a particular favourite yourself?
It's rather difficult, actually, to have a particular favourite, but we'll see what happens. A lot of things to be taken into account.
When exactly, may I ask, did you decide that you were serious?
That is a difficult one. When it became mutual, I think it was even, well, I suppose after badminton. But can't speak for him or me, really.
Mr. Phillips, let me throw that one at you.
Yes, it was after badminton that we decided, really.
Has it been a great strain keeping it secret and indeed keeping it away from people like ourselves?
But
I think it has, yes, it became rather a strain in the end.
What is the actual protocol when you decide to get married, ma'am? Whose permission do you have to ask?
Well, we started with father, didn't we? We thought that was the right way around to do it.
We started with Mr. Phillips's father.
Well, we started then because that, we started, in fact, with the families, but you asked my father.
Yes, it is.
How was that interview?
Well, it was, he was very kind to me, actually. I was petrified beforehand.
Well, now that you have, in fact, more or less agreed that it's going to be sometime in November, where are you going to live after you're married?
Well, again, this has all got to be decided. I think there's no great rush as far as we're concerned to decide that. And we know he's going to be at Sandhurst from February onwards. So we've got time to decide about that.
Do you see yourself becoming an army wife?
Well, I doubt in the accepted sense of the word. I think one thinks of, regimental ties and being with the regiment all the time, but as he's not going to be with the regiment for the first 3 years, I don't think it's likely.
If your future husband were to be posted abroad, do you think it likely that you would go with him?
Which one's wrong, mate? Yes, I think
that's an imponderable.
Which is at the moment.
I think one of the things, of course, you're both international equestrians. You've got individual careers here. Do you intend to continue with this after your marriage? Will you be competing indeed against each other?
Yes, we will, and we both hope to go on competing internationally if we're selected, if we're lucky enough.
Selection being the main point. I mean, you don't just, continue if you wish to.
Mr. Phillips, what are your immediate plans now? Where do you go from here?
I'm going back to Germany tonight, back to my regiment.
What reaction do you expect from your fellow officers in the regiment?
I don't know. I haven't heard they're not going to let me into the mess. Anyway, so.
Can I put one final question, George? I'm sure everyone wants to know the answer to, and that is, have you discussed a family, or do you have any thoughts about having a family?
As yet? Oh no, it's much too early to think about things like that.
And so, not for the first time, the British royal family prepares to admit a commoner into its midst. It's a private happiness that has the public's blessing.